Fund. First item on the agenda this morning is apologies for absence. So have we any apologies?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Apologies from Councillors John Curtis and Michael Locke.
Thank you. Next item is disclosures of personal or prejudicial interest. I make declaration here because I am in receipt of a pension fund from the Swansea GPS.
Yeah, they do it every week.
Thank you, Phil. Anyone online? No, thank you. Patient, oh, sorry, I couldn't see. Sorry, Patience.
Okay, member of the local pension board.
Thank you. That's very kind. Councillor Rogers.
Hello, I'm also a member of the pension fund, and so is my wife. I've returned my DOI already. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Good. Sorry, I changed glasses. I can't see. I do apologize. I got to change glasses to see who's indicating. Steph as well.
Yes, I'm a member of the pension fund.
Thank you.
And myself, Chair, I'm a member of the pension fund.
Jeff.
Declaring trust, member of the scheme as well.
I'm a member of the Swansea Pension Fund.
Thank you all. What do we do about the late arrival? Okay, fine. Moving on to the minutes of the last meeting. You'll find these on page 2, 3 and 4. Page 2, page 3, page 4. Any comments? Oh, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda would be a report from Audit Wales, and I believe that's a detailed audit plan from the City and County Swansea. That's section A, and I believe Gillian Gillette from Audit Wales is going to let us in on what this entails. Thank you.
Thank
Gillian,
you, Chair.
over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah, fab.
Yes,
okay.
fine.
So this first item on the agenda then is our audit plan for 2023, which just provides you with details of the planned audit work we plan to do for 2023 to discharge our statutory responsibilities. I'm just coming to you a little bit later than normal. We don't usually bring it along with the sort of audit accounts report, which just tells you the work that we have done. But anyway, so it also tells us when we plan to carry out the work and our audit fee. So it just really provides you with a reminder of our responsibilities, just set out on page 6 of the report, which are to give an opinion on the pension fund accounts. We also have additional responsibilities to receive and respond to any questions or objections from any local electors. So in terms of the accounts then, we cannot give absolute assurance that the accounts are accurate. So we adopt the auditing standard concept of materiality to identify misstatements that we believe could cause a user or reader of the accounts to be misled. So for this year, we set that at 29.1 million based on 1% of your gross assets. So our financial statements audit is based upon our assessments of the risks of material misstatement, and through our planning work we assess the risks to your accounts as we see them, and they are set out in exhibits 1 and 2. So I don't propose to go through them in any great detail, but we have identified one significant risk, which is the management override of controls, which auditing standards require to be viewed as a significant risk in all audited bodies. And then another risk we've identified is the valuation of private equity investments. So as there isn't quoted market process to value these investments, we see these as a greater risk for the reasonableness of the valuation basis. And finally, on the thing I want to draw attention to on page 13, which shows our estimated audit fee for the year, which is £50,701. And that reflects a fee increase of 4.8% for inflationary pressures, and also a further increase in our accounts fee of 10.2%, which reflects the impact of revised auditing standard ISA 315, which really says that the way we audit the accounts is prescribed by auditing standards. and we have to follow those. And there have been changes in these standards that require us to do slightly different and a little bit more work. And the increase there is in line with other public sector audit bodies and is less than the increases in the private sector. That's all I really wanted to say, but if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to take them. Thank you, Chair.
Have we any questions at all online or in chamber? No, Gillian, there doesn't seem to be any questions. So I'd like you to move on to the ISA report. That's item 4B, the ISA 260 report, City and County Swansea Pension Fund, if you may. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So this report is our audit of accounts report, ISA 260, which summarises the main findings from our audit of your 22-23 financial statements. Firstly, I'd just like to say it's a positive report and the Auditor General intends to issue an unqualified opinion. So I'd just like to say that we've continued to work with the finance team throughout the accounts process, and we'd just like to express our thanks to Jeff and the team for all their help during the audit process, as they provided us with the evidence that we've needed to complete the audit. So we've completed our audit work, but there are just some couple of matters that we are required to report to you before you approve the accounts. So on paragraph 8 also sets out that we intend to issue an unqualified opinion once we've received the letter of representation, which is set out in Appendix 1. And the proposed audit opinion is set out in Appendix 2. As I say, it's unqualified and reflects well on the team and the pension fund. In paragraph 11, then, we note that there are no uncorrected misstatements in the accounts. And paragraph 12 just highlights that there were some misstatements in the draft accounts which have been corrected in this final version, had no impact on the net expenditure or net assets of the pension fund. They were mainly disclosure of nature. So I'd also like to note that last year we reported one other issue which resulted in a recommendation being made. And we followed this up and are pleased to report that this has been implemented, and further details of this are in Appendix 3. So as I say, this is a very positive report and I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Gillian. And it's very good news to hear what you just said. And with an unqualified report is good news all round. Are there any questions for Gillian? Jeff?
Thanks, Chairman. Just like to echo Gillian's word of thanks, not to myself, obviously, but to my colleagues and the team that work for me. Not least Mrs. Karen Cobb, who sits alongside me, who's primarily responsible for delivering and producing the annual report and statement of accounts. I mean, the work of the pension fund is very complex, and the last 2 or 3 years have been consumed with reviewing and revising and implementing a new investment strategy, and a lot of focus and attention has been invested in that. But what is equally important is that all those changes, all those new asset classes, all those new investments have to be accounted for appropriately, and it's been left to the task of my colleague Mrs. Karen Cobb in unravelling and fathoming the technicalities of how to do that appropriately. And the fact that we've got a clean audit report from Audit Wales is a testament to her due diligence and experience and expertise. So I'd like to thank Karen unreservedly in that respect. Also like to thank Audit Wales and Gillian and her colleagues for conducting the audit in an efficient manner, noting the pressures of time constraints and resourcing issues that both her team are subject to, and we are at Swansea Council with other conflicting demands. But I think it's a very positive and welcome report for everyone concerned. So thanks, Chairman.
Thank you very much. The Vice Chair is indicating he'd like to come in. So Phil, could you?
Yeah, I'm in a corner here, so you couldn't see me. I think the word I was going to use was this is a positive report, but Gillian mentioned it twice. Jeff has mentioned it once, so I must be right. And I just want to echo, I know Jeff is thanking himself, but I'd like to thank him as well, and Karen, for the amount of work they go through in the year and coming to us to get hammered by Will Thomas. Okay, that's all.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we all feel that that those comments and sentiments should be passed on to the officers. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 5. This is a report of our section 151 officer, Jeff, and the first item within that report is the Sitting County Pension Fund Annual Report and Statement of Accounts for 22-23. So over to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Chairman. This report and this item follows on very neatly from the preceding item. Obviously, Audit Wales and Gillian's previous report pertains to this document. This is the final version before you for formal approval, and as Gillian indicated, at the conclusion of this meeting, letters of representation and a copy of this of this annual report will be put before the chairman and the Section 151 officer for signing before they're couriered down to Audit Wales for their record keeping. As I say, this is the final version of this annual report. The committee have already received a draft version of the same at an earlier meeting this year. And as indicated by Gillian in her report, it remains largely unchanged from that draft version, save for the minor misstatements referenced by Gillian in her report that have been amended throughout the report. However, in the interest of completeness and it is a public meeting, I shall go through the report on a summary basis, just to bring to your attention some of the highlights of the report. Obviously, the annual consultative meeting yesterday was held for employers, so forgive me if some committee members were in attendance yesterday. What you hear me say today may sound very familiar to what I said yesterday at that meeting. I'm going to utilise, if you don't mind, the page numbering in the bottom right-hand corners of each page, because that's how I've annotated it in my notes. So apologies for that if it makes it difficult to follow. However, as you can see on page 3 of the annual report, we have a summary of the 3-year profile and statistics of the fund, outlining the key membership stats. You can see we're an open, growing scheme, just shy of 50,000 members as it stands. You know, growing pensioner profile, growing list of active members, growing list of deferreds. As you say, the LGPS is still an open scheme. We as a fund are not at maturity as yet, fast approaching, but not quite there. But it's a healthy position for the fund, and reflects and endorses the medium to long term investment time horizon that the fund adopts. On page 5 to page 25, the report largely covers the administration side of the business. Obviously, this is the most important side of the business. This outlines all our dealings with members, how we manage that relationship, how we pay out those benefits to them, and how we're performing in that regard. And included in that are some PIs, our complaints procedures, what we're doing in respect of data cleanse. And I think members heard yesterday at the ACM in our presentation from Claire Elliott, our pensions manager, a great deal of work they're doing in preparation for pensions dashboard and implementing the remedy for the McLeod judgment. On page 26 to page 40 outlines an update on the WPP and the pooling agenda and how that's progressing. And just to remind committee members, this is the collaborative piece of work that we're doing with the other 7 Welsh pension funds in driving out cost efficiencies and improving investment outcomes for all Welsh pension funds as a result of working together and harnessing and leveraging those economies of scales and efficiencies. On page 41 to 43 is a summary of the work of the local pension board. And as indicated yesterday, and I don't know if Ian Guy is, yes, he is online today, our chairman of the local pension board, always a great supporter of the work of the LGPS and is always in attendance. But the local pension board was formed in 2015 as a result of legislation to plug a gap in the governance framework for other public sector schemes. However, it applied to the LGPS as well, notwithstanding the fact that this committee, the Pension Fund Committee, is a designated Section 101 committee of Swansea Council as the admin authority with decision-making powers for the pension scheme. That the local pension board then has evolved to be the scrutiny and audit function for the pension fund and provides that key role of critical friend, overseer, and gatekeeper for the decisions that the pension fund committee does take on behalf of the scheme, and it's a very important role and well discharged by the board led by Ian, as I say. On page 44 to 89, so again, it's a lot of, and my audit colleagues and governance colleagues, please forgive me, but a lot of dry material in there outlining the control framework in which we operate. Obviously, Swansea Council is the admin authority for the City and County of Swansea Pension Fund, and the City and County of Swansea Pension Fund largely leverages off and uses all the control mechanisms of Swansea Council while it's discharged its function as admin authority. So that annual governance statement and control framework largely reflects that of the council as well. And the main body of the accounts, what readers of the accounts will largely be interested in, starts on page 90 and 91, whereby we have the fund account and net asset statement. And as you can see on page 91, with the fund account and the net asset statement, just shy of £3 billion now the net assets are worth. It's been a negative year in terms of investment returns for the fund, but not only the fund, for the market as a whole, and in terms of performance, it returned minus 1.6% during the year, which is a net decrease in fund value of approximately £18 million. This was largely in line with the market. The market returned very similar figures, and we ranked 25th, I think, in the local authority universe in that regard. This indicates how resilient the fund is in that regard, because obviously we'll hear later on from our investment consultants and our fund managers, Russell, who are in attendance today, about the challenging market conditions in the last 12 months leading up to 31st of March 2023. And it's perhaps unsurprising considering the three very positive years prior to that, where the fund achieved table-topping investment returns, and the 3-year number sees us at the top of that league table with a league-topping 13% annualized, outperforming the average by 3%. So not surprising that there's a bit of a reaction when there's a downturn in markets, and also during that interim period, as briefed yesterday at the ACM, there's an ongoing risk reduction exercise, de-risking exercise that we're undertaking in the investment portfolio, and the fact that we have managed to attain average returns during that period is a testament to the resilience of that fund and how robust the asset mix that we've got. However, as we'll hear later from Philip and Andre, that work is still a work in progress, and we'll hear about the ongoing strategy review and the outcomes of that later on in this meeting. Off the back of that, I was pleased to report earlier in the year that we were shortlisted for Pension Fund of the Year in the LPF Awards. Unfortunately, again, ever the bridesmaid, never the bride. We were runners up in that award ceremony. Lost out to Lothian Pension Fund, and alongside the Greater Manchester Pension Fund and the West Yorkshire Pension Fund. Those pension funds, just to give you a point of reference, assets under management of 10 million, 18 million and 29 million. Obviously, Swansea at just shy of 3 billion is definitely the minnow amongst those shortlisted finalists, and indicates that we are very much playing in the big league in that regard. And it's, you know, it's a credit to the team that we were shortlisted alongside those big pension funds. Regional accounts are always very conscious of cost management, cost control, what management are doing in respect of managing costs, and investment management costs are outlined on page 101 to 104 of the document. I know members are always keen and interested to see how those costs are managed, and as I say, the pooling arrangement with WPP has driven out millions in cost savings in relative to prior pooling arrangements, and you can see some of the details of that on page 101 to 104. On page 133, then we have the actuarial report required to include the outcome of the actuarial review. We heard from the actuary yesterday, giving us an update from their funding position at 31st of March 2022, and quite contrary to what you expect, noting what I've said about investment performance during the year, the funding position has improved since the valuation date, and that's merely a mechanism of some of the assumptions being used and improving in our favour, in that they were very prudent at time of valuation, and they've moved in our favour, and also the discount rate used to value the liabilities has moved in our favour. So in actual fact, despite asset values going down, our funding level has improved to September 2023. It has improved by about 3% as of yesterday, reporting by the actuary. And the rest of the document, all 260 pages of it, and I think I referenced yesterday, work ongoing at a national level at Scheme Advisory Board, with a view to rationalising this document and making it less voluminous in terms of trees being cut down and pages on your and gigabytes, sorry, on your laptops. Because lots of the rest of the document as appendices includes the investment strategy statement, the funding strategy statement, the governance policy, and our ESG policy, which we're required to outline and include as per regulation. However, there are moves afoot at Scheme Advisory Board level to amend scheme regulations to indicate that we only have to signpost those documents via hyperlink or via website address going forward. So this document hopefully will be a lot less unwieldy going forward. I think I've covered everything in summary there, Chair. As I say, I think we've discussed and debated and taken questions in detail on this report at two prior meetings. So I'm happy to stop there, Chairman, and take questions if you're all right with that. Thank you.
Thank you for a very detailed report, Jeff. Yeah, I have one indication at the moment. That's from Phil. So could you?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Mixing up yesterday and today, obviously, my brain didn't hold so much. But one thing what stood out again this year is that we are performing over 100%. Well, that in itself is fantastic, and it's, you know, it's what we look for as members is what we can get for our members of the pension fund, and I think that's uppermost in our thoughts all the time. But then the knock-on effect is, because we're over 100%, then the council, because we're all councillors here, do not have to top up the pension, because I remember the good old black days when it affected the budget in a big way, the council budget now, not the pension budget. So, the knock-on effect is it's fantastic for the council budget as a whole. And I think the point is now we've been like this for a couple of years, so now we'd expect it to be over 100% every year. But I know that'll never happen. But yeah, well done, Jeff, again.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you for those kind words. I know we did save the council about £5 million last year, didn't we? Yes. So
Notice I didn't mention 200%.
No, thank you, Councillor Downing, and you're quite right. Mustn't rest on our laurels, and as indicated yesterday, it's about safeguarding and making that full funding level sustainable going forward. And you'll hear from Philip and Andre the moves and strategy tweaks, because they're not wholesale changes, because obviously we've been very successful in these last few years. They are slight tweaks and amendments to that strategy. Again, about adopting a bit more prudence, injecting a bit more protection and yielding assets into the portfolio, because the strive for growth isn't quite there now that we have attained that full funding position. But just to manage expectations going forward as well, because obviously we've had this table topping investment return these last few years. To manage those expectations going forward, those table topping returns will not be repeated, because we are reducing the risk allocation within the portfolio, and that is wholly appropriate. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks very much for your kind words, Councillor Downing.
Thank you, Jeff. Right. It is recommended that the City and County of Swansea Pension Fund annual report and statement of accounts is approved. So I'd like to move on to the vote, if that's in order. Jeremy, could you take the vote?
Yeah. All those in favour? Okay, and online. There we are. That's carried, Chair. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. That's approved.
Thank you very much. It's very kind. Right. Moving on to item 5, section B. This will be the Wales Pension Fund annual report 2022-2023, and this is just information. Again, this is a 151 officer statement.
Thank you, Chairman. The committee and local pension board are used to receiving quarterly updates on the work of the Wales Pension Partnership. I summarily update them on the progress of the work. However, and again, in accordance with good practice and good governance and reporting guidelines, the WPP do produce an annual report on an annual basis, and this summarises those quarterly reports into one document for ease of the reader. As Chairman says, it is only for information. And as I say, you've received their quarterly updates anyway, which this is a summation. Happy to take questions on that. However, again, reference to yesterday's ACM, I did touch on and highlight some of the ongoing work at WPP, in the most important of which is the live tender, which is ongoing at the moment for the renewal of the operator agreement. Obviously, Link Asset Services stroke Waystone, as they are now post takeover, had a 5-year contract to be the ACS operator. In accordance with the procurement guidelines, we're required to go out to the market again and to renew that relationship. Waystone are obviously very keen to retain that business, but there are a small number of other entrants to the market who are interested. Pardon me, interested in tendering for the business. So there is a live tender ongoing as we speak. Karen and other practitioners will be evaluating those submissions in early December. Also, at the moment, we're in the process of designing and finalising the WPP real estate ask of the market, and I know the chairman and Councillor Thomas have raised questions about what that will look like. It is being formalised and finalised as we speak, with a view to testing the market in early January. That concludes the update, Chairman, and happy to take questions on the annual report that you've got before you.
Thank you, Jeff. Do we have any questions for Jeff on item 5B? Nobody online? Okay, moving on then to 5C, which is the breaches report. Again, this is for information. So carry on, Jeff.
Thanks, Chairman. In accordance with good practice, we're required to report scheme breaches. And when I say breaches, I say that in air quotes because, you know, it sounds a lot worse than it is. These are technical breaches whereby the criteria set down by the pension regulator haven't been met. In large, they are quite minor in that respect, or immaterial in that respect. Members are used to their content and what they relate to in that usually they refer to the receipt of late contributions from small scheme employers. You know, with a couple of larger employers who breached the last couple of quarters, glad to say that they finally sorted themselves out and sorted their back system out with the right date, so they're not 2 days late as they were last time. However, another employer has breached this time. It's a new employer, so at least it's not a repeat offender. It's a new offender this time. But again, it's a college there. You can see there at the bottom on page 349, as opposed to a housing association last time. It was. You know, it was due on the 19th of October. We received it a day late on the 20th of October. So technically a breach. We're required to report it to you, but you know, it's understandable. It's a human error in that regard. They put the wrong back payment date. Happy to take any further questions, Chairman.
Have we any questions for Jeff on that particular item? Online? No, thank you. Moving on then, we'll to exclusion of the public. We'll have to take a vote on this. So,